You deserve to be in a relationship with somebody that's going to celebrate your milestones and successes. I mean, that's what you're in a relationship for, right? What other point is there except to be mutually supportive and loving and caring? And if you have some successes, why wouldn't you want to celebrate with your partner? So this woman posted in the Am I Overreacting subreddit saying, "Am I overreacting to break up with my boyfriend of 3 years over his reaction to my upcoming sobriety anniversary?" She says, "Alcoholism was something I struggled with in my 20s, and I finally got into therapy and got sober. I did smart recovery, and it's been a lot of hard work changing a lot of my habits, and it's something I'm proud of. I thought I'd get one of those berry chantilly cakes. The screenshots are from the convo with my boyfriend when I was thinking about it. He acted normal when he got home, but the way he talked to me really hurt my feelings. The kind of relationship I want is one where I can share something like this and the other person would be like, 'That's awesome,' or even, 'I'll pick it up for you,' or something. I don't need or want a parade, but I feel like my person should celebrate with me." Everything that she says there is reasonable. "I'm thinking of ending it with him because the more I think about it, the sadder it makes me feel. But I'm posting about this because I know Reddit is unforgiving and strict about addiction, and maybe you guys will show me how I'm blowing it out of proportion. I don't want to walk away too soon. He has never talked to me so negatively before, saying stuff like, 'You wanted a pat on the back,' and 'I'm not going to act like you're a hero,' doesn't feel like the way a good partner should talk." And I simply said, "This makes me sad for you. You do deserve a partner that will celebrate your wins, not overreacting." But let's look at the text messages. I say that she's not overreacting. She's in the green. She says, "I'm thinking about getting myself a cake for December 12th. He says, "Why?" She says, "2 years sober." He says, "Yeah, but why would you get a cake?" She says, "Just to celebrate." You could see that she is excited in her text messages, and he is just attempting to be a wet towel. So then he says, "So you're celebrating doing the bare minimum, LOL." He just degraded her accomplishments right there. And then she says, "It's something that took work and has been difficult for me." And he says, "But you still need my validation to buy yourself a cake?" She says, "No, I'm not looking for validation. I wanted to share with you since I thought you'd be happy for me." Then he says, "No, you wanted a pat on the back from me, and now you're pissed I didn't give it to you because I'm not going to act like you're a hero for doing the bare minimum. You are the one who chose to drink too much. Don't make it everyone's problem." And she says, "Why are you talking to me like this? Are you having a bad day at work?" He says, "I'm just being real with you. This is not something worth buying a cake over. Like, do not go around telling our friends about this because it will look bad." And then right here, she just drops it. She says, "Okay, never mind. Did you want to go to blank after work to see blank?" He says, "I'm watching the game with blank." She says, "Okay, I'll see you at home. Maybe Taylor would be there. Ha ha." And then he says, "Ew, I hope not." So you could see how deflated she was. She was so excited about her upcoming anniversary milestone. And he's just like, "That's the bare minimum. This is embarrassing." I was deflated for her because I've never been addicted to anything, but I do assume that having temptation and being around people that are young and celebrating things, that has got to be hard. You would think that somebody who has seen this, because she's been in this relationship with him for 3 years and she's on her 2 year sobriety. So he's seen her through these things. Why would he deflate her like that? Lady Irie says the bare minimum for a boyfriend would have been to be happy for you. Not only was he not celebrating you, he insulted you and minimized something that is big and very hard and very important to you. It's gross and unkind and you deserve better. But enough of him and on to you. Congrats on your hard work. Is not easy nor bare minimum, especially in today's society. You absolutely deserve to celebrate. If people judge you for that, they are not your people. I hope you're kind to yourself today. You should absolutely get yourself the cake. The Catalyst says, "I love this response. He has the audacity to call your major accomplishment the bare minimum. He can't even do the bare minimum by celebrating your sobriety anniversary. I definitely support your decision of breaking up with him." And also get how this would be a hard decision to go through with. Do you have a good support system outside your relationship? Fruity Coast says all he had to do was show up, have a piece of cake, and not be a D about it. Talk about doing the bare minimum. Dark Side Max says he didn't even have to show up or have cake. He literally had to just not tear her down. Glass Selection says the funniest part is if he had just said, "Cool, I'm proud of you," that would have been the end of it. Bro chose the only wrong option. Potential Difficult says, "LOL, right? Dude put more effort into being a prick than he would have had to put into being a good boyfriend." Class Affectionate said, "The way you moved on from his disrespect so quickly in this text convo makes me feel like maybe he's talked to you like this before. Don't let his condescending BS become the norm. You don't need this tainting your inner dialogue. Part of recovery is celebrating milestones and appreciating the positives you're nurturing. Hell yeah, it's cake day." And then she says, "Yeah, I get," and this is the OP talking. She says, "Yeah, I get that. I was just trying to move along and ask about plans because I was getting upset and didn't want to lash out without calming down." Construction No says, "Did you want to move along because you didn't want to lash out, or you didn't want to experience the backlash if you address it?" And then she says, "No, I didn't want to lash out. It's something I've been working on and goes hand in hand with why I make this post. I tend to have big reactions to sometimes little things, and I have to get myself to take a beat, step back, analyze things, and come back when I'm calm. I'd have the biggest overreactions when I was drinking." And then she made this part bold. "Please stop trying to talk me into thinking that I have been gaslit into thinking I overreact. I'm not. This is something I went to therapy to work on because it has been an issue for my whole life. Nobody else has been trying to convince me and nobody has been gaslighting me." She must be getting a lot of comments. Do Numb KC says, "Are you also aware that big reactions come from pushed down emotions like sadness? Anger makes us feel stronger and actually gives us the strength to act to protect ourselves. What you need to control is how you protect yourself, meaning to stay within the legal and socially acceptable range of actions. Going to Reddit, asking if you reacted okay, reading the comments and feel something about them is unfortunately a way to push down your sadness and anger you feel towards this guy. Everyone would be sad and angry. He is offensive and you give him space for it right now, but you don't have to. He might symbolize the provider who hurt you, but you have to be nice because of being a dependent of them. You are an adult now. You can leave and find happiness. I had to leave 3 similar guys at your age until I learned that these are just bad people who are desperate for attention. You are smart because you are asking if he had a bad day. You know that he's projecting and trying to make you feel little. Addiction is linked to the amygdala, so you had to work pretty hard changing your habits to be able to stop. Using alcohol as a coping mechanism at such a young age is sad. Sounds like your childhood was rough, full of criticism and emotional neglect. That's why you might still be hesitating about kicking out this person, because you have endless patience to surround yourself with familiar hell. Based on this text, he loves himself, his opinion over your support, and doesn't like the friend you told him about. He wants your circle to be smaller, your achievement to be smaller, and your positive emotions to be invalidated. I don't know you, but I, and many others here, care for you enough that I want you to have that cake. Think about it. My partner has always been supportive about my sobriety. It has been more than 6 years. He also stopped a month after me. We are both sober now and super proud of each other. I'm wishing you many sober years and a happy cake day." That comment from that person was very supportive and kind. I really like that. I'm going to end it with her response to it, and you can read this one if you would like to yourself. But the OP says, "Thanks. My therapist has been helpful in getting me to where I need to be regarding the big reactions. It has made a difference." So this woman right here, Western Cat, she's doing what she needs to do to get herself on track. She knows that she has issues. She's working through them, and she just needs somebody to be there for her, to celebrate with her. And we all deserve that if we're in a relationship. All right, y'all, join the conversation. Let me know what you think of this one. I'm sure we're going to see these types of scenarios more and more, especially with the way women are outpacing men in education, and we're doing well in the workplace right now. I know it's slow going, but we are. Alimony is gender neutral, so marital assets will get split. So if a woman is a breadwinner and making more money, she's going to end up paying if marital assets get split and the marriage dissolves. Anyway, this woman posted in the marriage subreddit saying, failing marriage, but I'd have to give him over $500,000. Geez, and have my kids' custody. So stick around. All right, let's check out this small post, this short post. She says, I make more than double what my husband does, and we have two kids under 3 years old. That's a lot. We've reached a dead end in the relationship. He's become controlling and disrespectful and tells me I deserve this treatment because I've been a horrible wife, i.e., I'm not clean enough. I socialize too much. He claims he has no capacity to do any action to change the marriage. We tried couples therapy 2 years ago and he quit after 6 months. Since I make more, I've also been able to save more. I contribute maybe 40 to 50% of our expenses. I would have to likely give over $500,000 to him across my assets, savings, retirement, etc. And I lose half of the custody of my kids. I know I'd ideally be living a happier life separate from him, but the cost of it seems so high. Should I just try to coexist and maintain some time of respectful environment for the kids? He doesn't want a divorce. The many times I brought it up, so maybe he'll be willing to agree to some common ground. I know it won't be an amazing life. I still want to be loved and loved, but that's also a huge unknown if that's in my future should I leave. If her kids are this young and she is already saying that this marriage is terrible, it's failing, he's controlling, he's disrespectful. I know she's going to lose a lot of money, but losing this money, and I mean, she still probably has to be kind of young. She's losing that money, but she would be losing half of what she saved up. So that means that hopefully she would still have enough time to rebuild all of that. But I don't understand wanting to or thinking it's better to remain miserable. Because if you remain miserable and you're still amassing money, you're still working, making more than double what he's making. So even down the line, you're still going to have to pay out. Are you going to stick and stay with this person for the rest of your life? The longer you're in this type of relationship, the more marital assets you accumulate and the more you'll have to pay out anyway. So cutting now and paying, half right now is better than doing it 20 years from now. I know it sucks to lose out on $500,000, but it's going to be worse 20 years down the line. But that's what I think. End it now. If she already sees the writing on the wall, why stick and stay? But let's look at the comments. Let's see what other people are saying. TB0904 says, a peaceful home for your kids is worth more. Go talk to an attorney and get solid advice on the financials. Own Marketing says this, kids feel the tension even when you think you're hiding it. Growing up in a calm home beats growing up in a wealthy but miserable one. DTC Style says, can confirm. I'm 10 years older than my younger sibling, so I was out of the house in college at 18, so I didn't feel it. But from 8 to 18, at the tail end of their marriage, my parents couldn't stand each other. She had to go to therapy for a few years in college and a year or so after. Part of that was my mom also being a complete narcissist, but also what she had to go through in the middle of their marriage. Things weren't great before I left for college, but it really spiraled after, and they divorced as soon as my sister left. They never told us, but I'm assuming they stayed together for the kids, which is why I always tell people that it is never a good idea. And it is so important to hear from the children that people stuck and stayed together for. The kids do not like it when you stay for the kids. They would rather you be in a happy home, separate and co-parent, like some people that can get along, versus having to live in tension and walk on eggshells. Why do people insist that this is better? Confident Monk says, yes, I always felt the negative energy in the room, even when they were happy. Captain Inappropriate says 100% this. My parents stayed together for years longer than they should have, and it very much affected my childhood. My siblings and I were aware of all the conflict. Home was not a great place, and we avoided it as much as we could. None of us ever really brought friends over. It was better to spend time in their conflict free home. Despite my parents' best efforts, their misery affected all of us. The day they finally split was sad, but also amazing. For the first time in a long time, I was able to walk into a house that was at peace. I get why parents try to stay together for the kids, but it's a trend that needs to stop. It was far better for us when my parents could live 100% for the 50% of the time they saw us than when they were around 100% of the time, but were too caught up in their own relationship issues to give us more than 25% of their effort. This person is pulling out the math. Pale Blue Dot says, yep, I never felt comfortable bringing friends over because I was so embarrassed. There was so much yelling in our home at that point. But even 10 years earlier, when I was 5, when they didn't argue in front of me, I noticed they didn't love one another because they didn't spend any time together and they were never physically affectionate. Parents severely underestimate how much kids notice. They think if they don't argue in front of kids, things are good. But kids are always watching you and observing because that is how they learn how to be functioning humans. Dependent Chain says, totally agree. Peace for the kids is huge, but also got to protect yourself. Half custody and $500,000 is no small thing. That's life-altering money. But the money is going to keep on accumulating. It's going to just keep getting bigger and bigger. Leave now. This is the smallest it will ever be. Leo Finn says, your reminder lands with real weight because a calm home becomes the anchor kids cling to when everything else feels unstable, and getting professional guidance can turn a frightening crossroads into a mapped path. Jorik says, well said, a peaceful environment shapes their childhood far more than the size of any settlement, and talking to an attorney might help her build clarity instead of fear. And then finally, a healthy, safe environment is priceless. Money and stuff can be rebuilt, but your kids only get one childhood. And you only one life. You only get one life to live. I completely agree with that. This money is going to come and go, especially if she's young enough to rebuild. And I did type that on this post. Hopefully, people do completely understand what they're getting into. Marital assets will get split. So, it happens gender neutral across the board. And this is something else that women have got to be aware of. Are you prepared for this if things do go sideways? You have got to prepare for any and all of these situations. Join the conversation. Let me know what you think. Don't forget to like, comment, and share. Right now, I'm covering up something that's quite disgusting. This woman came to the internet to tell us that she is 6 months pregnant and her husband gave her a sandwich, a burger, a raw burger, gave her a raw burger to consume, and she's 6 months pregnant. Some of these women are married to the Opps. Some of these women do not need enemies because they have these husbands who hate them. The fact that he would give his wife is 6 months pregnant, you cannot get around the fact that you are 6 months pregnant. It's not something that he forgot because she has a well-defined belly at 6 months. But this burger is raw. These are some of the things that you're supposed to avoid while pregnant. Raw, processed, and undercooked meats. This is on the list. And why? What could happen? What kind of health implications can come from eating raw foods as a pregnant woman? Risk to the baby, miscarriage or stillbirth, premature delivery, developmental issues, other complications. He could have taken out or caused irreparable damage to his own wife and unborn child. Why? Like there's nothing that you can say or do that could justify this to make this make sense. It was disgusting to even look at that picture, and I didn't show it because it could definitely be triggering. But this woman, like a lot of these women that come to the internet to complain about the things that their husband did, they come to the internet to complain, they go viral, and then they come back and then they try to defend or whatnot. She came back and she was pretty bout about it. She said, I turned off the comments because I can't fight any of y'all. Why would you want to fight any of us? Your husband is the one that's the enemy. Your husband is the one that's trying to take out your unborn child, and you're getting mad at everybody else for saying that he could take you out, that he could take your child out. In this political climate where we have seen women get prosecuted for miscarriage, this woman could be taken through the ringer for this action of this ops of a husband. Husbops. I don't know what I'm saying. But over on my YouTube page, I'll share the video of this woman talking. She has pulled or made private that video where she's showing that nasty looking meat. But if you are on my YouTube page, I'll just put it at the very end, the picture of that meat, if you want to see it. If you don't want to see it, I completely understand. Just scroll away. If you're over here on TikTok, you can just search the picture. I'm sure by now that you have seen this content creator Lay's ships going viral because she's all over the place.
Okay. Let me first start off by saying I turned the comments off because y'all are talking a little too reckless for me, and because I can't beat your ass in real life, I'm gonna protect my little peace. Secondly, y'all keep saying, oh, well, you're gonna stay. One, if you're not married, you cannot enter this chat. This is for married couples only, okay? 3, no, I can't just up and leave. Like, I can't just, he made me a raw burger, let me pack my shit and leave. And go where? Am I going to your house? Am I going to your auntie house? Who house am I going with my kids? Like, where are we going? Since I have to leave, where are we going? Lastly, and I'm gonna address some other shit, but lastly, because, like, y'all are fucking weird in these comments. I knew, hold on, because I want to word this right without sounding like a fucking, those idiots that come on this internet trying to justify, because I'm not justifying shit. If you're married, I've been with this man 7 years, okay? We've been married. If y'all have seen like a Mr. and Mrs. Smith type of movie, granted, I'm not perfect, and I will never come on this app and act like I'm perfect. When we get into it or we beefing or whatever, we can be petty towards each other. His level of petty have exceeded tremendously, and obviously that was too much. That's never happened. Someone said, oh, that's happened before. It's never happened. This man has never done no crazy shit like that. He has never fed me anything raw because he was mad. That man will take care of me and put me before anybody on this goddamn earth. He always have, and he always will. Now, what he did was very, very far. He took it too far. And that is one of the things that I have to now pay attention to. I knew he had an attitude, and I knew he was going to give me like some here damn food because I asked him to make me food. I didn't think he was going to go and make me a burger. I thought like some here damn noodles, a here damn bologna sandwich, something. Not a raw ass burger. Yes, I 100% believe that he knew it was raw, but didn't give a fuck because he was so mad. He was mad because I made him do some shit he didn't want to do because he was too tired or whatever the case may be. I'm fucking tired too. Like, we be beefing at home, y'all. I just don't broadcast my shit like we keeping up with the Kardashians. No. Okay? So, stop acting like y'all know everything that's going on in my life. I posted that because that shit was crazy. Like, no, like, you did take it too far. Now, I can't, like I said, just up and leave. But because I'm not Boo Boo the Fool, and I know his behavior, and I know his fucking patterns, I know when he was being petty. I knew that was a petty moment when he went downstairs slamming shit. And so I knew upon that he really didn't give a fuck about feeding me something raw. I did not think it would be raw, but something told me to open it and check it. That's, ladies and gentlemen, is called intuition. I follow my fucking gut. Opened it and seen that it was raw. Crazy. But the thing about Lay's is that I will always be 10 steps ahead. And I will always follow my intuition and my gut. And I know that I'm okay. He is not a dangerous man. He will never, ever intentionally, even though that was semi-intentional, harm me. Okay? Y'all don't know my story, and y'all don't know where I come from, and y'all don't know where he come from. We've came a long fucking way. And like I said, this man will put me above anybody on this goddamn earth. Granted, he has his little boyish moments. Those are shit that he got to work on. But yeah, I need y'all to chill out. I'm only going to address this one time because it's really not, I mean, it's deep, but it's not that deep for y'all to feel like I just have to up and leave someone because they made a raw fucking burger. Like, no, I just now have to keep note of all this shit and literally be 10 steps ahead of all the bullshit. Because now I'm not going to retaliate with pettiness, but I'm just moving more accordingly every time. I tell him that shit every time. He sat and read all y'all comments. He's like I let him know I posted this shit. And I told him, like, y'all are calling him evil. And I be calling him evil, like, bro, you did some evil shit. Like, I laugh about it because he will never hurt me, is all I gotta say. I'm not worried. I'm not scared. But what he did, like I said, was fucking crazy. And he took his pettiness to a whole nother level. Yeah, so that's all I gotta say about it. I need y'all to chill out. Those comments are gonna stay off. Don't be commenting on all my other videos being assholes, because I'm just gonna delete them. Like, you're wasting your time typing all that, and I'm just gonna delete it because, like I said, I can't beat your ass in real life. So unless you want to pull up to my address, I can't beat your ass in real life. So y'all have a blessed fucking day.
Centering men is its own punishment. As long as women continue to touch fire, we're going to continue to get burnt. Touching fire is its own punishment. Centering men is its own punishment. And maybe punishment isn't the right word. Maybe it's consequence. Whatever it is, we're going to keep getting the lesson until we learn it. And I think women are starting to learn it. Women are starting to make the connection between being deeply and publicly humiliated and being with a male partner. I've said it a bunch of times, and I'm sure that my wording might be a little controversial or whatever, but like, men are the winners. If this was all one big contest, men have won. They won a long time ago. However, once you win a game, the game is over. But if you want to keep winning, you keep playing. And men are sore winners. And so if you want to be in a relationship with a man, if you want to center a man whatsoever, you want to make a man a prize, then he's going to make you a loser.
She's winning you, but I know she's a loser.
You're going to be the trophy in the same way that a deer is a trophy. And he's going to carry you around, and it's going to be a humiliation ritual for you. Collectively speaking, that's what men are doing to women. Women are collective losers when it comes to men. Being around men, it makes you a loser. So yeah, it is a humiliation ritual to be centering a man. And in many cases, to be in a relationship with one. This is why so many women are afraid to even post their man up on the internet, because everybody's going to have to wait for that second shoe to drop. Oh no, is he have a second family? Oh no, is his gay lover going to come out of the woodwork? What is going to happen to humiliate whatever woman decided to show the world that she's in a relationship with a man? That's not normal, guys. That's not normal. There are songs, so many songs, where women talk about, I'll just steal your man. That is how embarrassing men are. That's how much of a liability they are. That is the prize that women get for centering men. You expect him to be loyal? He's rich. You expect him to spend time with you? He buys you things. You expect him to be nice to you? He's poor. Like, literally, there's always an excuse for why you should be humiliated as a woman. But that excuse only works if you are a woman who centers men. When you touch fire, and I know I've already used this analogy, but I'm going to use it again. If you touch fire, you get burnt. That is the punishment for touching fire. If every time women collectively center men, or women, or even on an individual basis, if when a woman centers a man, she gets burnt. What's the lesson we're supposed to be learning here? We're supposed to be learning to not center men. So, and it's happening. It's happening. Women are decentering men. And again, this is not about being mean to men. It's not about avoiding men at all costs. It's not about never getting married. It's not about never being in a romantic relationship or never even seeking a romantic relationship. You can do all of those things and not center men. You can not put a man's needs above your own. You can not put a man's needs above your children's needs, above a community's needs. That is possible. And to think that it's not possible, that's another form of centering men. My older sister, whose birthday just passed, she used to always do this thing where she'd grab my hand and start poking me and say, stop poking yourself, stop poking yourself. Yes, she's obnoxious. Yes, she's a Sagittarius. Happy birthday, sis. I say all of this to say that the punishment will stop when we stop poking ourselves. And yes, they are holding our hand and they're the ones doing the poking as well. But you don't have to be in a relationship with a person who makes you poke yourself.
stupid. A man comes into my life and I have to compromise? You must think about that one again.